Deep dives and blue skies. Welcome back to Talking Blue with Nick, the best Dodgers analytical podcast that you can find. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Talking Blue, the best Dodgers analytical podcast that you can find. I'll be your host, Nick. We are back with episode 34 of Talking Blue. As you can tell, I'm in a new setup. Not new. I am at my girlfriend's house. Shout out to my beautiful girlfriend. I am recording at her house today. So, still got a lot of things going on, changing places after I was in the hospital for a little while. So, hopefully it doesn't sound too bad. Hopefully the video isn't too bad. I'm liking the way it's looking so far. So, today we're going to recap the Dodgers and Nationals series that just wrapped up a little bit ago. Dodgers take 2 of 3 from the Nationals. Pretty good series. If it wasn't for a little bit of a late inning comeback, things might have got a little bleak there. But Dodgers, either way, get the series win. Would have liked a sweep, but beggars can't be choosers. So, as always, you can get this podcast on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Talking Blue on all social media. Follow myself at Talking Blue Nick on X. Subscribe to the Reddit at competitive-week8715. We're going to go ahead and get into the 3 games today, guys. So, before we do that, though, let's do some injury updates. A little bit of injury updates. The biggest one is Tyler Glasnow. He threw a rehab assignment today in Oklahoma City. Don't have the numbers. I saw it on Twitter. I believe he went 2, it might have been 3 innings. I saw that he was up to 98, had 3 walks. So the fact that he's just out there throwing 2-3 innings is pretty good. So I like to hear that. There was a weird update with Blake Snell. He's continued to throw, but I did see there was a comment from Dave Roberts saying that he does not expect Blake to throw to hitters anytime soon. So I'm not really sure what that means. So there's still a lot up in the air when it comes to Blake Snell, it seems. But other than that, most of the injury reports remain the same. Blake Trinan continues to throw bullpens. Edgardo Henriquez stays in the minor leagues, but there's probably a chance he comes up soon. Luis Garcia, there's no news. Roki Sasaki has just started his throwing program. And then obviously we already know about the Emmett Sheehan part of the injuries. So let's go ahead and get into Game 1, June 20th. Clayton Kershaw versus Mackenzie Gore. Mackenzie Gore, really good young left-handed pitcher. He's been with the Nationals for a couple years now. So the Nationals actually got on the board first in the top of the first. Ahmed Rosario, old Dodger. I'm sure the Dodgers will trade for him this year's deadline. He goes deep in the first inning to put the Nationals up 1-0. Dodgers wouldn't get on the board until the bottom of the third. Mookie Betts beat out a possible double play ball. Tying run comes in from third. Later on, he gets to second base. Teoscar Hernandez singles, infield single that was knocked down. C.J. Abrams made a throwing error, flipping the ball to second. Dodgers go up 2-1. Andy Pages, 2-out single, makes it 3-1 Dodgers. Later on, Shohei would hit a single into right to make it 4-1. Nationals would make it an interesting game. Riley Adams would homer off of Kershaw, so it's now 4-2 Dodgers. Then we go ahead later on. Miguel Rojas homers. He came into the game. Miguel Rojas got the start at third in this game. So it's actually 6-2 Dodgers now. Then Luis Garcia of the Nationals hits a double to make it now 6-4. So it's a 2-run game. Later on in the ninth, when Tanner Scott was in, C.J. Abrams would homer to make it a 1-run game, but the Dodgers would win the game by a score of 6-5. Dodgers win 6-5. Clayton Kershaw goes 5, Michael Kopech goes 1, Alex Vesia goes 2/3, Kirby Yates goes 1/3, Jack Dry for 1, Tanner Scott for 1. He got the save. Like I said, he gave up the 1 earned run on the home run. Really, the story of this game was Clayton Kershaw, who I believe is now 8 strikeouts away from his 3,000 strikeouts, so that's going to be pretty cool. Probably take him 2 starts to get there. Next 2 starts, we'll see that. He usually gets about 4 to 5 strikeouts, so he'll probably get after his next start, he'll probably only be like 2 or 3 away from 3,000. So Clayton Kershaw in this game goes 5 innings, gives up 5 hits, 2 earned runs, like I said, on 2 home runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. He gets the win, so he goes to 3-0 on the season, so that's nice for Kershaw. So Kershaw continues to pitch really well. We talked about got off to a really slow start. A lot of the expected numbers weren't great. He's got his ERA down to 3.31. It actually went up a little bit after the 2 home runs that he gave up, but he's thrown 32 innings so far. He's got 24 strikeouts. He's gotten a lot better with his command. His walk numbers are still not too great, but like we did mention last outing, I believe he didn't have any walks. This outing, he only had 2. So Kershaw, his expected ERA is 3.96. So like I've talked about before, some of his expected numbers aren't too great. Again, that's a lot of that is because of Clayton Kershaw's stuff. He's not necessarily throwing too hard out there. He hasn't ironed out his slider yet. He's got a 283 batting average against his slider, which is not horrible. That doesn't necessarily mean it's getting hammered. It does have a 30% whiff rate, but he's getting put in play and given up hits. The fastball has got hit around a little bit as of late. He did have really good fastball numbers early. Right now, the batting average against his fastball is 262, but the curveball's been his best pitch, 174 batting average, and he's just been throwing it a lot, which is really good. He throws it against lefties, and he'll even mix it in. He throws it a lot against righties, and he'll even mix it in against lefties. So, another pretty solid start from Kershaw. I've always said on this podcast that as long as Kershaw's healthy, I kind of will never think he's going to pitch bad. He always seems to figure out a way to get outs, even at this point in his career with his diminished stuff. He throws 78 pitches in this game, so he still hasn't thrown like a ton of pitches yet. They're not going to have him go super deep into games. With his diminished stuff, it's probably not even a good idea to have Kershaw go through the lineup 3 times. Obviously, batting average against pitchers goes up every time throughout the order, but especially with guys older, he already has diminished stuff. But Kershaw, once again, he's pitched a lot better since the first few starts, got his numbers in a good spot, and right now he's become a valuable pitcher once again with all the injuries. Again, I don't think the Dodgers will probably rely on him come postseason, but he's going to be really valuable throughout the regular season if he can stay healthy. And, I mean, he's the greatest pitcher in Dodgers franchise history, maybe other than Sandy Koufax. So it's a treat every time we get to see him and talk about him. I hope this isn't the last year of Kershaw. We'll see about that. But he continues to pitch pretty good, get outs. And his next few starts will come against Colorado, and then I believe maybe Kansas City. And then after that, they play the White Sox. So he's going to have a chance to get his numbers in a pretty good spot after that. So that's pretty much the story from this first game. Like I said, Dodgers win 6-5. Offensively, Shohei had a hit. Mookie had 1 hit. Shohei did have 2 walks, and he had an RBI as well as Mookie with the RBI. Miguel Rojas actually had 2 hits, 2 hits, and then he also had the 2 RBIs. Kike Hernandez, who came off the bench, also had 2 hits. And then, of course, Andy Paz had 2 hits, who continues to get hits and drive in runs. The Dodgers go 3 for 11 with runners in scoring position. So, pretty well-pitched game. Obviously, the bullpen let up some runs. Alex Vesia gave up 2 earned runs later on. He came in. Kirby Yates came in for him and gave up the hit, which allowed 2 runs. That goes on Vesia's ERA. But Dodgers get the win. It was a pretty feel-good game. Dodgers had played really good against the Padres. Their offense showed up. So I honestly felt like we were headed towards the first sweep in a little while for the Dodgers. But we'll go to Game 2. This was the one game they did not win. So, Game 2, Dustin May goes up against Jake Irvin. This game was on Saturday, June 21st. So let's talk about that game. So Dustin May actually looked really solid to start the game. His stuff was looking really good, throwing the ball in the strike zone. But first run is on the Nationals. James Wood hits a bomb to dead center. James Wood is just a monster. I think it was the only hit he actually had in this series, which is good. solo home run, so he didn't do too much damage. But right after that, Luis Garcia comes up and he goes deep to right center, almost similar spot as James Wood. So they go back to back. They're up 2-0. Dodgers would respond in the bottom of the fifth. Andy Paz hits another home run to cut the lead in half. Nathaniel Lowe does go deep. This was in the sixth inning to make it 3-1 Nationals, so they get their 2-run lead right back. But then the Dodgers respond again in the bottom of the sixth. Will Smith. So Andy Paz and Will Smith, who have been carrying the Dodgers offense as of late, with the guys at the top a little bit sluggish. So I'm feeling good in this part of the game, thinking the Dodgers will come back. But then C.J. Abrams, he hits a 2-run homer to make it 5-2 Nationals. So him and James Wood just kind of kill the Dodgers. The Dodgers wouldn't put up any runs at this point. The game was getting away from them. Keibert Ruiz hits a sac fly to make it 7-2. Nathaniel Lowe also homered to make it 7-2. 7-2 Nationals. Teoscar Wood homer in the ninth to make it 7-3, but the Dodgers lose 7-3. It would go Dustin May for 6, Jack Jar for 1, Lou Trevino for 1/3 of an inning. He gave up 2 earned runs, kind of where the game got away from the Dodgers. And then Will Klein would come in to make his Dodger debut. He goes 1 2/3. Didn't give up any earned runs. This game kind of sucked because Dustin May actually didn't pitch too horrible. Once again, it kind of continues. Dustin May, it kind of shows his what he's done valuable this year, but then what he's kind of not been great at. He continues to just go out there, pitch 5 or 6 innings, give up 3 to 4 runs. So he gives the Dodgers innings. He's been the one pitcher who has gone out there taking the ball every 5th day. But you see he's got his ERA at 4.46. Still kind of gets hit around a little bit. But he's still valuable that he's taking the ball every 5th day. I thought he pitched really good, especially earlier in the game. His fastball was looking pretty electric. And he had good command on the sweeper, which always is kind of what you're looking for with Dustin May. But it was just a game where the Dodgers offense didn't do too much. In this game, Teoscar and Will Smith both had 2 hits. But other than that, Andy Paz had 1 hit. Tommy Edman had 1 hit. Mookie did have 1 hit, but his at-bats kind of continued to look bad. Shohei goes 0 for. Freddie Freeman goes 0 for. Muncy doesn't get any hits. Michael Conforto, again, no hits. So what I really wanted to talk about for this portion of the pod is Mookie and his struggles. So he did look a little bit better. He did get a hit in the 3rd game today, but I just wanted to talk about some of his numbers and stuff. So I put out a pretty long thread on Twitter talking about Mookie's struggles. It's a little complicated, but it's very interesting. So if you look at Mookie Betts' numbers as a whole, and by the way, we're almost halfway through the year so far. Obviously, 162 games, 81 games is the halfway point. I believe the Dodgers have played 79 games now, so we're almost at the halfway mark. Mookie Betts' numbers are: he is hitting .254 with 338 on base, 391 slugging percentage, and a 729 OPS. And to put that in perspective, Mookie Betts' career averages are a .292 batting average, 371 on base, a 517 slug, and an 888 OPS. He's actually had his OPS right around 895, 890 throughout most of his career. In 2023, his OPS was 987. Last year was 863. So what's really been down for him is the slug this year. So I really put out a breakdown of why is Mookie Betts struggling, because we kind of did this with Max Muncy earlier in the year, and we're going to shine some light on him soon because it shows that I was right and not panicking on Max Muncy. His numbers weren't great. I showed you what he was doing wrong, hitting the ball on the ground a little bit more often. He was not pulling the ball as much, and we're going to go through some of his month-by-month numbers and how he's gotten himself in a much better spot. Mookie is very interesting. So when you look at his Baseball Savant page and you look at a lot of his numbers, a lot of the things that make Mookie Betts a really good hitter are still there. He has what I like to call a very good process at the plate. I'd say that about guys like Muncy as well, obviously the superstar hitters, but Mookie Betts does not chase pitches out of the strike zone, and he doesn't swing and miss very often, as well as walking a lot. So at the plate, he swings and strikes. He doesn't swing and miss a lot of pitches in the zone. He doesn't chase pitches out of the zone. He walks a lot. So that leads to really a good process. But where Mookie Betts is struggling is with some of the individual pitches that he's hitting, and then a lot of his barrel percentage numbers, hard hit percentage numbers are very down. So everybody knows at the beginning of the year, Mookie Betts had the illness that led to him losing a lot of weight. And exit velocity numbers and stuff like that are always tricky with guys like Mookie because Mookie's not a big guy. So Mookie's never going to have a super high average exit velocity and stuff like that. He's just not going to hit the ball as hard as guys like Judge, Ohtani, O'Neal Cruz, guys like that. Mookie Betts is 5'9". He's just never going to be a guy who hits the ball hard on average a lot. But he could still have a hard hit percentage, a good barrel percentage, stuff like that. If you look at his bat speed, it's not good, but his bat speed's never been good. And bat speed, as we find out a lot of these metrics on Baseball Savant and stuff like that, you don't always have to have super elite bat speed. There are guys who don't necessarily have crazy fast bat speed that are still very good hitters. So it doesn't necessarily mean because he's got bad bat speed that he can't hit or anything like that. Some of the stuff I was looking at that shows Mookie Betts' struggles are sliders, sweepers, and curveballs. Mookie Betts has always been a very good fastball hitter throughout his career, but in 2025, he's hitting 106 against sliders. Against sweepers, he is hitting 217, and against curveballs, he is hitting 100. In 2024, hit 314 against sliders. Against sweepers, he hit 118, which obviously is bad, but then against curveballs, he hit 250. So obviously, unless you're one of the best hitters in the game like Judge or Ohtani or guys like that, you're not necessarily going to hit every single pitch well. It's kind of rare to have a guy who crushes fastballs, sliders, curveballs, changeups, stuff like that. Obviously, Mookie Betts has been a guy like that throughout his career, but he's predominantly a very good fastball hitter who hits sinkers well. He's been good against curveballs and stuff like that throughout his career. What's part of the problem for him right now is he's very bad against sliders. He is hitting 106 against sliders right now, which is 6th lowest in all of baseball. So really struggling against sliders. They throw him a lot of sliders. Now again, he does hit fastballs well. He's got a 313 batting average against four-seam fastballs and an expected batting average of 353. So what Mookie Betts needs to do is just get a little bit better at hitting breaking balls, stuff like that. He doesn't need to be elite. He doesn't need to be one of the best hitters in the game. But you can't be an automatic swing and miss, an automatic out when you're facing breaking balls. You can't be that horrible. Because then in this modern day baseball, with analytics and stuff like that, teams will just throw you all sliders. They'll just spam that slider. They won't throw anything else. And you're just going to keep swinging and missing at it. Now, I do think Mookie will turn it around because of his great process at the plate. This is something I attributed to Max Muncy when he was struggling. A guy who has very good process, doesn't go out of the zone and stuff like that. Sometimes when you're not getting great luck and stuff like that, maybe not hitting the ball in the air as much, you're going to have these stretches where you get a little bit unlucky and maybe if your exit velocity numbers are down, not hitting the ball as hard, stuff like that. Mookie, at the end of the day, makes contact as good as anyone in baseball. Doesn't chase as good as anyone in baseball, pretty much. And he walks as good as anyone in baseball. So all that should lead to you getting your pitch, not chasing, which should lead to you getting more fastballs ahead in the count, stuff like that. So I think Mookie Betts will turn it around. Now, his barrel percent and his hard hit numbers are definitely down. So in 2023, which was Mookie's best year as a Dodger, he had a 48.5% hard hit rate. 2024, it was 39.5. So then in 2025, right now, it's at 34.6. His barrel percentage in 2023 was 12.4. 2024, it was 6%. Right now, it's at 5.7. So he's definitely not hitting the ball as hard. He's never been a guy who hits the ball crazy hard because of his size. He kind of relies on, when he hits his home runs, they're balls that just get over the fence. He's always been a guy who has really good barrel control. If you look at another number on Baseball Savant, that is squared up percentage. So that's another that kind of how much are you hitting the ball, how much are you making contact. That's another contact number. Mookie Betts is in the 99th percentile. So he makes a lot of contact. He's not striking out, and he is walking. All of that is good stuff. But Mookie Betts right now is not hitting the ball as hard. He pops up the ball a lot. So he's got a really interesting swing. He's one of those guys who's tinkers with his swing a lot, his load, his hands, and all that stuff. So when he goes through stretches, you can tell he definitely loses his swing and kind of his mechanics. I do believe in Mookie Betts, and I think he'll turn it around. But this has been a pretty long stretch. Like I said, it's almost been half the year, and Mookie Betts has an OPS of 729. I don't think he's ever had an OPS in the sevens. He might have. There was one year, I think it was 2017, where he had a little bit of a down year. But other than that, he's pretty much always had an OPS 850 or higher, stuff like that. So again, Mookie Betts is 32 years old, and at this point, he plays really good defense at shortstop. And in the Dodgers loaded lineup, we don't need Mookie Betts to have the year that he did in 2023, where he almost had a 1,000 OPS, 987. Him hitting in the 2 spot, and because of the player he's been throughout his career, I would like to see him get his OPS back into the 800s. Now, I don't know if that's possible because it's very late. He would have to go on a pretty long heater, but it is possible. I do believe in him. I don't think he's going to finish with a 729 OPS. I expect him to get it up into the high 700s at least. So I believe in Mookie Betts. I don't think anybody should panic or give up on him or anything like that. But you got to be patient. He's got one of those swings that will go through cold spells a lot. So that's enough talk about Mookie Betts and the game 2. So let's go to game 3. This is, of course, the exciting part of this game was that Shohei Ohtani would make his second start. So Shohei goes 1 inning, didn't give up any hits or earned runs, only went the 1 inning. So the Nationals get on the board in this game in the top of the 3rd inning. Nathaniel Lowe hits another home run. He hits a 3-run homer to left field to put the Nationals up 3-0. Then the Dodgers would remain to get absolutely dominated by Michael Soroka. Mike Soroka, former Brave, strikes out 9 against the Dodgers. And he goes 5 1/3, 10 strikeouts, 2 walks. So he comes out of the game in the 6th inning. Dodgers have the bases loaded. They bring in a lefty to face Max Muncy. He hits a grand slam to left center field. First home run, I believe, off a lefty all year. He has really bad numbers against lefties, but stays in there against the lefty, takes him deep, puts the Dodgers up with 1 swing. Just like that. Pretty electric moment. Later on, Shohei, with a couple runners on base, he triples down the right field line to put the Dodgers up 7-3. Mookie Betts, this was his one hit in the game. He hit a single in the left field to make it 8-3 Dodgers. Then Max Muncy with another home run. 3-run homer makes it 11-3 Dodgers. Shohei Ohtani, he would then hit a home run to left center field. It's now 13-3 Dodgers. Later on, Kike comes in. I'm kind of sick of seeing this, honestly. Kike coming in. I get the Dodgers do it because of the injuries and stuff like that. And I know that there's nothing wrong with doing it when you're losing by a lot, but when you're ahead, I kind of don't like it. So he comes in there, just gives up a bunch of runs. Eventually, they go to Alex Vesia. So final score is 13-7. Dodgers get the win, get the series win. Like I said, final score 13-7. So Shohei Ohtani goes 1 inning. Ben Casparis goes 5 innings. Anthony Banda goes 1. Lou Trevino goes 1. Kike Hernandez, like I said, goes a third. And then Vesia goes 2/3. So what we'll mainly talk about is, of course, Shohei and that 1 inning. And then we're going to talk about Max Muncy. So Shohei Ohtani goes 1 inning. No hits, no runs, no walks. 2 strikeouts. So I wanted to talk about him and his numbers really quickly. So again, it was only 1 inning, which was kind of unfortunate. They did say he would go at the most 2 innings. And he only threw 18 pitches, so I thought he was definitely going to come back out for the second. He did not come out. So like I said, he throws 18 pitches. He threw 18 pitches, 12 strikes. So what's really good is that the velocity continued to be electric. So I talked about how he was basically averaging 99 miles an hour. His first start, I expected it to come down. It did, but not as much as I thought it would. He averaged 97.9 in this game, so basically 98 miles an hour, maxing out at 98.8, which is basically 99. So the fastball pretty much sat 97 to 98 again, getting up to 99. He threw 7 sweepers, 6 four-seam fastballs, 3 cutters, which he didn't throw in that first start, and then 2 splitters. So he didn't throw any sinkers this game. So that's interesting. He's kind of continued to mix up his pitch mix, which I like. It's only 2 innings so far, but You got to find out which pitches are your best and which aren't working. Got 2 whiffs, like I said. Both of those were the strikeouts. One was on a splitter, and one was on a sweeper. Or excuse me, one was on a cutter, actually. So he looked really good. So, again, not much to talk about. He looked really dominant. He looked more in the zone. Fastball continues to be electric. I wonder what his average fastball would be throughout a full start, but he looks absolutely electric. Looks like he's going to be one of the Dodgers' 1 or 2 best pitchers. The sweeper looks really good. The sweeper velo did come down a little bit, where it was kind of like 87, 88 in the first game. In this game, he averaged 83.4, which is pretty normal for him for his sweeper. That's what he was at mostly before he got hurt. So fastball continues to look electric. His command looked a little bit better. So I'll be interested to see when we see him pitch again. He obviously pitched on 6 days rest, so I'm guessing we probably see him next Saturday, which would be in Kansas City, I believe. So hopefully we can see him go more than 1 inning and have a little bit more stuff to talk about. But at this point, he's thrown 2 innings, 28 pitches, and then 18 pitches. Puts him at 46 pitches, and he's basically averaged about 98 miles an hour on the fastball. So the velo has been no issue coming back. The command has been pretty solid, I'd say. So just want to see him go multiple innings, stuff like that. Start to see him build up. So what I really wanted to talk about was Max Muncy. So, of course, early in the year, I did a breakdown about Max Muncy. A lot of people were calling for Muncy to be benched, wanted him traded for Nolan Arenado. It was pretty early still. It was about mid-April, late April. I remember it was a series against the Cubs where I did the breakdown. I told everybody to relax, believe in Max Muncy. Considering where he was at, hitting well under 200, no slug or anything like that, he's gotten his numbers in a very good spot. He is one of the best hitters in baseball when it comes to not chasing and walking. He's in the 94th percentile in chase percentage, and he's in the 100th percentile in walk percentage, because he has the second highest walk percentage in all of baseball behind Juan Soto. And I wanted to just show his month-by-month numbers. So, in the first month of the season, which is marked as March/April, he was hitting 194 with a 309 on base, a 301 slug, and a 610 OPS. That is awful. That gives him a weighted runs created plus of 78. But by each month, he had a OPS in May of 951, and then in June, he's at an OPS of 977. I'll take some credit myself. I told you guys to not bounce on Max Muncy, to believe in him. When we look at a lot of the barrel numbers and stuff like that, so he's got a 12% barrel rate, which is higher than what he had in 2024. He's actually still continued to be unlucky because he's got a 236 batting average. It's expected 250. His slugging percentage is 410, but his expected slug is 496. Hard hit rate of 50%. Last year was 43, so he's been very good this year. His walk rate has actually increased. Like I said, it's 17% walk rate. That would be the highest of his career if the season ended today. The highest of his career was in that first 2018 year where he had a 16.4. Other than that, he's usually around 15, 14. So he's walking even more than he was when he was struggling, hitting the ball harder. It's leading to more home runs. He's hitting 242 with a 373 on base, 442 slug, and an 815 OPS. That gives him 11 home runs on the year. So he's got his OPS over 800 now, which is pretty good considering how slow of a start he had. So those are numbers that I wish Mookie Betts had right now. But all the credit in the world to Max Muncy that he turned his season around. He's back to getting on base at a really high rate, walking a lot, and also hitting home runs. Way to go, Max Muncy, getting your numbers in a much better spot. So that's pretty much going to wrap it up. They will go to Colorado after this. Not sure if I'm going to do a preview series on the Rockies. The Rockies are obviously like the worst team in baseball, so there's not really much info to be given on the Rockies. They're going to be pretty bad at everything, pitching, hitting, defense, I would imagine. Comment below if you want me to do a preview series on the Rockies. I will see if I do it, and I will see if I have the time. Hopefully I do. So they're going to go to Colorado Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for 3. Hopefully a lot of the guys that have been struggling can break out. Shohei obviously had a pretty good game today, but I would love to see guys like Mookie and Freddie break out a little bit, as well as Teoscar Hernandez. So hopefully some of the bats can break out in Colorado. Dodgers do have a pretty soft part of their schedule coming up. They play Colorado, then they go to Kansas City, then they will also play the White Sox. So Dodgers have actually not had a sweep in a really long time. I believe it was late April when they swept the Marlins at home. It was the last time they swept a series. Now they have obviously won a lot of series. They now have this best record in the National League and the second best record in baseball behind the Tigers. But something that's scary is that the Dodgers haven't gotten hot yet. We always have the Dodgers summer. Last year we didn't get it. I hope we have it this year. I think that if the pitching continues to get a little bit more healthy, Glasnow maybe can join the team in a few weeks. Emmett Sheehan will come back on July 1st, hopefully. Hopefully the rotation can start to get a little bit more healthy, and then maybe Mookie heats up a little bit, and then the lineup looks even better. It's been the best lineup in baseball pretty much, but I like the way that the team is going right now. I like the way they're playing. Especially with this comeback win, the vibes would have been pretty bad if they lost this game after taking that big series against the Padres. They take game one of this series. If they would have dropped the following two, that would have really sucked. So this comeback win, we avoid any of that stuff. The vibes stay high. Go to Colorado. Got to sweep the Rockies. I don't want to come on here and talk about took 2 or 3 from the Rockies. Sweep the Rockies. Head to Kansas City with a sweep. Get that first sweep in a little while. Take advantage of this pretty soft spot of the schedule. The Royals are not a bad team. The Royals have really good pitching, and it's a big yard in Kansas City. But take advantage of this soft part of your schedule. Get a lot of wins racked up. Get into July and into the second half of the season eventually. We're still about 3 weeks away from there, but really would like to see them get Dodger hot, get really hot. Right now they have, like I said, second best record in baseball. I'd like to see that turn into the best record in baseball. So that's going to wrap up episode 34 of Talking Blue. As always, you can get this podcast on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. My name is Nick. You can follow me on X at Talking Blue Nick. You can follow us at Talking Blue Pod, at Talking Blue Pod on all social media. We've been doing really good on TikTok, some Instagram Reels, as well as YouTube Shorts. So thank you for everyone who's been following me on TikTok. I think I have over 500 followers now. I'd like to get to 1,000, so follow me on TikTok at Talking Blue Pod _ and follow us on Reddit at competitive-week8715. I know it's a weird name, but there's Talking Blue stuff all over it, so you can't miss it. So comment below if you guys want me to preview the Rocky series. We will see you guys then. Dodgers play the Rockies this week. Thank you guys for listening, as always.